I think you took it too far, Bob. Well, I just want you to know that it's all about the kids.
It's always about the kids. If truth, the if truth, the if truth. This is an interesting cocktail, bro. It's that weird, like
I
the
haven't
weird.
even had it yet.
Well, give it a
I was
go.
waiting to start the show.
Here we are, dude. We're starting,
Why you gotta be so straight?
dude. I don't know who you think you're talking to. Look, I'm gayer than you are, dude. There it is.
It's weird.
Get it
The
in there.
color's not exactly coming through. It's a
It's
little darker than what it looks like.
and
It
it's
looks
red.
more orange.
It's like orangish reddish too in real
Yeah,
life. But
like a nice peach color,
yeah.
like the color of Aperol. That's really
And-
what it is.
And as Nick Cage would say, I can eat a peach for hours. Remember when he said that? Oh yeah, he did.
Now, ladies and gents, welcome to the Stiff Truth. I'm Bob West. I'm here with Scott Casanova, and we're gonna get right in
Heyo.
here because this is a stiff fucking drink. Like there's no qualms about this. I know we've come up a little light in a couple of times in the last month, but man, this will knock your dick right in the dirt.
I agree, and it's also it's very interesting, dude, to say the least, man. I'm just again the palate. It's an unusual flavor profile for me in general. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. Aperol never had this shit before, and I feel like a fucking jackass, Bob, to be honest, because like
Cucumber it up a little more.
please do get in there. Now, is that the cucumber that's under your bed? Because if it is, that's definitely going to add some flavor.
I washed it.
That's
I used like Sani-Clean on it. I used like what's that soap that the doctors use to scrub their hands before surgery?
I believe it's called soap. I'm not sure.
No. No, it's a special kind of soap.
A special soap, doctor
Yeah.
soap.
Yeah, like it's an antibacterial crazy ass soap.
Oh, is
Hibiclens.
it?
Hibiclens.
Sure. Yeah, let's go
I
with
washed
that.
that
sounds
cucumber with Hibiclens.
good. Okay, you did. He also washes it with butt juice too, which whatever.
Who am I kidding? That was the ATM.
Again, like, did you try the Aperol by itself?
I haven't yet.
It's interesting. So I tried it yesterday. It's almost off-putting by itself because you're not expecting it. Now, anybody that doesn't know, Aperol it's an Italian liqueur that started in 1919. I only know this because it says it on the fucking bottle. I'm not really like the historian of
You
Aperol.
didn't do your research on this.
I did. I didn't do my research.
It's all there for you.
It's tattooed right on the bottle. It's etched in the bottle. But what's interesting is it says, it's kind of like the same language on it when it talks about its taste profiles, the same language that they use on Jägermeister, on Benedictine.
The botanicals.
Yeah, one floral, this and herbs and this and that, and you're like, okay, it's so that's such a vague way of like explaining the flavors to. You're like, oh, okay, so it's got like floral herbs and spices. Well, I mean, that can really mean anything.
I would say that kind of makes sense. So like if you had like a bouquet with like the baby's breath and like a bunch of different plants in there, not just flowers, and you threw some cucumbers in there and some gin, that's about the smell that you get when you're smelling this drink.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to say the least because it's bright. It's Hawaiian fruit punch red, the drink itself, like Aperol, right? I tasted it, a little bit off-putting, a little bit strange. It's unusual to the palate. Then with this drink, you throw it in the mix with the gin. All right, that's already a little bit interesting. And then literally, dude, what the cucumber does is it kind of gives it that refreshing, cooling aftertaste. Like almost like you could literally, if you're parched, like a parched alcoholic right after running a marathon, he'd grab an Archangel, you know what I mean, to lube back up.
Well,
that's what I'm guessing.
What's in it? Let's go over how to make this bad boy.
Because we know that's what everybody wants to know. But no, this is a very simple drink. In fact, I want to say it's barely a cocktail, dude. I mean, honestly, it's two things, but then you add the cucumber. That's element number 3 that actually makes it a cocktail.
And only because it's muddled.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're getting because when I was muddling it, I was trying to make a point to not pulverize it, but
just bruise it. Just give it a bruise.
To get till I saw the juices coming out of it. Right, is when the benchmark was.
So you're basically treating the muddling just how when you're warming up your gay lover for some good ass play, right? That's what I'm kind of saying. You don't want to.
I
You
don't
don't
want to
want to. You
beat
don't
it
want
up.
to.
I just
Not
want to get
yet.
it going enough to where juices are coming out of it, and then it's game.
That sounds really nasty. We like that though. All right, so this is the drink though. It's essentially it's a variation of a martini. We could say that. You've got 2.25, which Bob and I did say that's a very strange measurement in general, but 2.25 ounces of gin, 3/4 of a quarter. Excuse me, 3/4 of an ounce of Aperol. And then prior to that, you throw like 4 wheels of cucumber into a mixing glass and slightly muddle that shit, as Bob most elegantly put. You just kind of bruise it, just bruise it a little bit, just tease it. Don't beat the shit out of it up yet. I mean, you got to kind of string this out a little bit. You know what I mean? So again, it's tantric, if you ask
You
me.
got to give it the business enough to get it juicy.
get those cucumbers juicy. And then here's where me and Bob just like decided, like, we enjoy shaking so much. Not as much as our good friend of the show, Michael J. Fox, but enough to where we did not want to stir this cocktail. We went ahead and put it in the shaker. And honestly, I got little like cucumber seeds that are floating around, which I'm okay with. Whatever. I'm gonna eat the cucumber seeds. Not a big fucking deal. They're cucumber seeds. They're not watermelon seeds. I'm okay with that. But anyways, and then strain it into a nice martini glass, and then top that bitch off with a nice wheel, as they call it. I could say just a slice of cucumber, but they say wheel, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that proper
Potato,
terminology.
tomato. I mean,
Totally different fruits, veggies, and but that's our bad boy right here. So it is essentially, let's call it what it is. It's 3 ounces of booze.
yeah. Let's get one more look at this guy.
Hey,
look at that. It's elegant.
Salud, sir. Dude,
Well,
I'm telling you,
I might have
it's
muddled
refreshing.
mine a little bit too much, or maybe I could have strained it a little bit better. But I do have some cucumber seeds floating in the top, which is a little off-putting, but you don't really notice them when you're drinking it.
Bob, still, I couldn't hold myself. I had to beat that shit up. It's like,
Beat it back.
I can't just,
dude, I get excited to use the muddler. We don't ever get to use it until the Kentucky Derby comes around. That's
It's
like
true.
our highlighted muddled drink of the year. And
we got to make more old fashions and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Manhattans, because I mean we're muddling with all of those. And honestly, have you used your absinthe more than once? I have not.
no, it just sits in the cabinet. In fact, it's not even with the rest of the booze. It's like in a cabinet, like kind of by itself with a couple of other bottles of booze that I don't even know what's in there. I think it's
Wait a
like
minute.
peppermint schnapps and like tequila or something. I don't even know.
So you've got your absinthe with a couple of other, we'll call them outsiders, in their own cabinet. They've got their own bathroom, their own line that they use for the restroom. Jesus Christ!
I'll tell you
Bob.
this.
You've got segregated booze.
Back before the incident. And
Oh,
the incident is when like my
no, we don't speak about it.
cabinet fell and
Oh
like I lost
God,
bottles of booze. And
he's gonna revisit the pay now.
yeah, and so I'm not a cabinet hanger. At least
Yeah,
not a good one. Don't hire me to hang your cabinet. But ever since that all happened, I haven't completed the bar. I kind of stay out of it, so I just have everything setting on like on the countertop back there. But I haven't like got off my ass enough, and I think it's because of some of the pain. But because I need to like
sense.
I need to shelf it all up, put some lighting back there, make it much more pleasing to be back there and making drinks. And I've just been kind of avoiding it for like over a year now. Sad.
What you need to do is you need to call Jesus. I hear he's a great carpenter.
Yeah, he'll make that shit without nails.
That's what he did with the miraculous staircase. That's what I hear.
That's right.
Like just getting down. Well, until you get that relationship developed with Jesus, I guess we're just gonna have to table that. But let me ask you this: getting back to our cocktailer, I don't know if we've talked about it too much. I think we've said it in passing, but this is the Archangel, baby, and I love the name. Like you said, it sounded like, what'd you say? It sounded like a boss, like on
it's like a boss fight. Yeah, like this is a total like boss fight in Diablo or something.
I'm telling you, but let's give it a. Let's do something here on the Stiff Truth here. I think we should give it a nice rating here. And I think we should do this moving forward because, again, recently we've had a couple of stinkers, which I think honestly are just as fun, maybe more fun than the really good cocktails because we kind of like, we know what to avoid and it's an experience. It's a bad experience, but aren't really bad experiences better than no experience at all? Wow, that was deep. That was really deep, was it not? Huh?
Well,
Not really.
and it's similar to like that girl you brought home when you had too much to drink.
Oh
Like
man.
it may be a stinker, but you're still gonna finish it. I mean, you're still gonna see it through.
Well, at least while you're still drunk.
You may be upset with yourself after,
Yeah,
but
the
you're
next
still gonna
day.
get it done.
Yeah, yeah. This is very true. This is very true. So stiff truth rating here. We'll just give it the old fashioned 1 through 10. On originality alone and just kind of uniqueness, I'm gonna give this bad boy a solid 8, dude. I think that's where I'm at with this one. 8 out of 10. Now, mind you, a 10 would be like a let's see here.
I
What's a
was gonna
one?
say, I mean, maybe like a Singapore sling that was up there.
That's a good 10.
I mean, a 10. Harvey Wallbanger. That's a 10.
Yes. 100%. Again, another very simple drink, dude. Very simple drink. But I mean, hey, just like a fucking Nirvana song, you know what I mean? Which is timely. Check out the shirt. But you don't really need to have some intricate fucking scales and crazy complex kind of like chord progressions for it to be badass. It can literally just be all power chords and be like the best song out there. So, as one of the power chords of cocktails, the Archangel. That's what I say. What do you
I'm going to
think?
give this one a 7.5, right? So I was going to give it a 7, but then you brought up originality, and man, it's unique. We did have to like put some things in this drink that we've never used before in the bar. And after a few years of making a drink and you're using something that you've never used before,
Aperol.
and especially two things. We've never used cucumbers, we've never used apple. That's pretty amazing. So I mean, it gets a little bit of a boost from that. Now, it's not my favorite marriage of drinks, but or flavors, but it's not off-putting, right? So I like a good martini. I like a stiff martini. A dirty martini is probably a 9.5 for me.
Yeah,
Straight up
100%.
dirty martini, love that.
That
So I
makes
love a
sense.
good stiff drink, stiff martini to where when you drink it, you feel yourself getting fucked up. Because when you order a martini, let's be honest, that's what you're looking for. That first martini to like, no, I've had a rough day. Give me a fucking double martini. I'm gonna pound this shit. I'm gonna feel better instantly knowing that relief is on the way.
And
Right?
honestly, if you're trying to play it super cash and you order your second double martini, who are you fooling there? Just bring out the fucking beer bong. You know what I mean? Because that's where
You're
we're
getting
going.
trashed at that point. Like it's not even. So I love that it's a martini. I do
Yeah.
like the uniqueness of the drinks. It's not my favorite tasting drink, but if someone asked me if I wanted one of these, like, hey, I'm buying a round of this. Do you want this? Fuck yeah! Like,
Well,
serve them up.
to your point, again, I'm going to give it that solid 8. I'm standing fast with the 8 here because I think this is a drink, dude, that you do impress people, especially if they're like, dude, we've been making rum and cokes and this and that, doing shots all night. Like let's mix it up. Give me something different. And you're like, different? Here you fucking go. And this is one of those ones, no matter if you hate it, like you just like you said, this is not my favorite marriage of flavors here or whatever. You take a sip of this and you're like, interesting. And it's not what I would say is off-putting at all, but it definitely makes you think. It has you analyze with each sip, like the beginning and the end of the sip, like how you taste things, from start to finish. There's like different flavors. Like right out of the gate, you could taste the cucumber, the coolness. Then you kind of get the gin and the Aperol, and then it finishes again with the cucumber. And you're like, huh, like, did I just get fucked in the ass real quick and then he dipped out? Like, what just happened there? Like, it's like a ninja ass fuck. Like, what's going on here? But it's good. It's good because it's a little bit different. It's intense. I'll say that right now. Again, this is a strong drink. You have 2 or 3 of these, Bob. You're going to the gay bars.
I was
You know
like,
what I mean?
that's well. If I have 3 of these, I might end up in a straight bar. I might turn my world sideways here. but just for how much we've talked about it, I think this is a Stiff Truth approved drink. We
100%.
love it.
Yeah.
We love it. The Archangel, look it up. And do you want to credit this one? Because I don't believe it's in the book.
Yeah, who is this fucking guy? Let me just take a quick peek. And I'm going to go to my favorite app here. Tik fucking Talk.
Well, that's
and
timely.
And give it a little bit of hello, how are you here? But it looks like if you go check out at Zach_Zolsky, that's where it came from. He does a lot of drinks here. It looks like all kinds of drinks. First time I saw the guy, but obviously, as you know, with my algorithm on TikTok, it's a bunch of, half naked, muscly men just, doing dances.
But it's not your fault. It's because TikTok's evil.
Hold
it's
on.
Not your fault.
Fluffers and transvestites, and then people making cocktails, because that's what I like to watch, Bob. But no, great stuff on there. In fact, if anybody doesn't have TikTok and they want to, I know people here, and this is like what we're gonna be talking about today. But if you want to get TikTok and be like, I'd love to see a bunch of people making a lot of crazy exotic cocktails. Just start searching for that and watch that, and your entire feed will just be people making cool different cocktails. It's actually pretty intense. You could literally be super educated. You can educate yourself on the world of being a connoisseur of cocktails just through TikTok. Can you imagine that, Bob?
And it's not just cocktails. And this is full circle now. We've moved on to TikTok. I've said it before. I've said it on the show. TikTok is the most helpful app I think I've ever used in the history of the internet. Right next to it is YouTube, but the reason I prefer TikTok over YouTube is because you can really pinpoint your search, and then it kind of randomly throws it up for you so that you can find it. And YouTube does too, but TikTok's so much more intuitive with the shorts, and you get 30 seconds, you get 15 seconds, you can kind of look what you're looking for. All the hashtagging and everything, you can try to pin it down what you're looking for. It's just so helpful. I've learned more from TikTok than I've learned from any other app that I think I've ever used.
Here's something I thought was pretty interesting too, because here's what I mainly enjoy about TikTok. I forget, dude, just how many fucking creative, talented people are out there all among us that use these to make their pretty high intricate level of short skit, comedy skit type videos and shit like that. And I've laughed harder at stupid ass, some of them 15-second TikToks, you know what I mean? Then I've laughed at sketch comedy shows like SNL that in 20 years. God's honest, dude. There's some shit on there that's just so and I think that's the beauty of shorts like that, dude, is you can do so much and so little with so little. And dude, it's a nonstop scrolling of punchlines for me, which I think is great too. Because again, it is what you manifest, right? With TikTok, and one of the things that I've heard do is the algorithm is the shit, right? The algorithm is the shit. They've got this thing on lock on how to do this. But the more that you want to see something, that's what you're going to see more of, and a variety of that, right? And it's going to get more narrow the more and more time you spend on that certain subject or whatever it is. Now, with that being said, I could see how this could be very detrimental to the people that are all over Facebook and Twitter bitching and complaining about politics all the time, because you're going to go down that rabbit hole on TikTok too. So
it's going to algorithm all that shit towards you as well.
It is what you make it, right? So it's kind of one of those things, dude, with the Ring of Power. I'm just going to be nerdy for a minute and bring that in. You know what I mean? Once you control it, it's gonna bring out what's inside of you, right? And for man, that's not good. Usually, that's typically the worst of the worst, right? So it is what it is, dude. Again, we need to just talk about what's going on with TikTok here, because we could sit here and suck TikTok's dick all day. We do that.
Well, before we move on, I'd like to what are your top 5 talk genres? I'll go first, for instance, right? So I get pet talk, right? So I get lots of cats and dogs because obviously I watch that. I get food talk all the time, so it's always about making food, steaks, grilling, smoking, just all the food talk. I do get the sketch comedy and everything. I get a lot of sports talks, because I'm trying to follow up on all the off season, the trades, and I keep track of everything. So I get a lot of that. I do get a lot of SNL skits. I get. And that's probably the majority of my talks. I'm probably missing a couple, but I've really refined my algorithms to make me. Sorry, the last 2: drinks and gym talk and booze. right? I get a lot of that too, and a lot of that's I know similar because we share a lot back and forth to each other, so our algorithms are fairly aligned, and not just gay porn, but but
It's funny. It's funny how you left that one out, Bob. It is interesting. Like the one that consumes the most of your time.
In all seriousness, like though, you're gonna see some badass 25-year-old half naked girl on there, and you want to look, but don't
Well,
move
hey,
on, because
not
if
from
you
too
do
long.
look, that algorithm's going to come back, and there's going to be more and more. And don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be tempted by that, because it's going to curb your TikTok. And then the next time your wife or your kid walks up, it's like, oh, what you watching? Oh, that bathing suit's barely on there, huh? You don't want to be in that place. That's not the place you want to be.
Hold on, and let me correct you there. If that's what you want to do, then please watch it, because you'll be inundated with half naked tail all over the place. Which, hey man, fantastic. The internet's a great place for that too. But you're absolutely right though. And just to let you know, dude, my number one is definitely the food talk, dude. Dude, I am sitting there sometimes like an asshole, hungry as shit, just like salivating, and I go to switch, dude, and it's like that. What's it? Is it ASMR, like like the where it's like all the heightened like sensitivity for the microphones or whatever, so it's like you can hear the crackling of the cooking, the cutting up of like the onions. They amplify everything. It's like the same thing that like chicks do with those little microphones too, and they like tap on them or whatever. It's like whatever that is. ASMR, is that an acronym for something, by the way? I don't even know.
Man, I don't know. I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up real quick. But anyways, food talk is number one for me. I would say like I'll say the motivational. I'm gonna group two together, Bob. The motivational kind of like better yourself, self-help, like, but also blended with like exercise and fitness kind of stuff, because they're kind of one and the same on a lot of them. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, food talk is probably the biggest one, and then I've got like the sketch comedy stuff. I do have a decent amount of like funny couples too. Do you have that? Like the there's I don't know. There's a lot of like stuff where like there's like people playing tricks on each other, and they're usually like couples that are playing tricks on each other. Like, hey, like
or
watch
like
this while I go.
dudes that live together or something.
Yeah. Like watch this while I go fuck with my husband, or go like mess with my wife or whatever, and they're doing silly, stupid shit. Again, that kind of rolls into like the comedy shit or whatever. And then pets, of course. There's like there's like a lot of exotic pets on there too, or whatever. Like I'll sit there and watch that with the list.
Full disclosure, Stiffy, Scott and I send a lot of like kitty videos to each other.
Yeah.
We totally do.
It's not very hardcore, but at the same time, dude, look, here's the stiff truth right here, Bob. At the end of the day, if you don't think like kittens and puppies and like Vietnamese potbelly pigs are fucking adorable, you're a piece of shit. Okay, and I don't even know if I want to associate myself with you.
A little bit psychotic.
Yeah, something is wrong with you. You're a sociopathic serial killer on the verge of like killing a family of four, and maybe you need to pump your brakes and go get some help, because again, kittens and puppies are fucking adorable. You should love that shit.
So ASMR is autonomous sensory meridian response, and what it is the tingling sensation that usually begins at the scalp and moves down the back of the neck. You know, the thing that gives you the shivers.
Oh, so what?
It's been incorporated into other internet kind of exploiting the senses. So when you hear the sound, scratching their mic or whatever,
okay, so
it's kind of something that's trying to get the tingling going.
So with the food, it's like they bring it in, they bring that in, they go, they chop it up, they hear like you hear everything breaking. So they basically probably put big boom mics like everywhere around their kitchenware, so it just is super amplified.
They're makes really sense. Just trying to stimulate your senses, and I'm into that,
dude. Very much so, because it takes it to another level. Like you get to see and hear the sizzling of like the fucking medium rare steaks.
It's like if you were like a sick steak voyeur and you're like an inch away from him as he's cutting it, and you're watching the juices come out of it. You're just loving life right there.
Is it fucking weird too that I get off on watching somebody else eat something else delicious? Like I'm like, oh, that looks so fucking good, dude. Like, god damn. I'm like, I want to try that. I need that now in my life.
I think Scott, I think a lot of us do that had to like live real adult life and struggle through our 20s. Because all of us should know what it's like to live that early 20s life, whether it's college or just trying to figure out adulthood or whatever. And you got a fucking fridge that's empty and there's ramen everywhere. I don't think you ever kind of lose that like want for awesome food and that hunger and desire for it. it might stem into why some of us overeat when we get a little bit more successful. But I think that it's a very normal thing that everyone kind of goes through, because there's a period of time in both of our lives where there was no chance in hell where we could have something like nice and amazing to eat like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Just, getting in a little Freudian here. It's probably our mother's fault.
Fuck you, you evil bitch. No, I agree.
Why do you got to talk about my mom like that?
Hey, that's how she likes it. All right, it's not me, it's her. She's the one that, and she tells me to pull her hair too. But that's not really that unusual.
Well, I mean,
anyways, getting off of Bob's mom, which is hard to do. No, I'm just kidding. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, you have to roll over a couple of times to really
accomplish
it.
She's not that heavy. Oh my goodness. Well, hey, no, quick
that's good.
Quick, yeah, this is great. Quick sidebar here, just because you talked about like doing better or whatever. We talked about this earlier. I think it's important to say. I don't know. It's not that big deal of anybody else, but guess what? This is our show, and it's about me. I don't give a fuck. I now am a proud owner of every 5th generation gaming system that I now have one in every room at the house. That's really exciting. That is really exciting. Now, I think maybe we did talk about it on the show when I went on my crusade for my PS5 down to Albuquerque. What was that? About a year and a half, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was a cool minute ago.
Yeah, cool minute ago. But just to give everybody a little bit of context here, I just recently got my tax return, which was actually a very nice tax return because there you go, Bobby. Because I got solar. Now, not only am I green as fuck, I'm a green thumb as well, but that's also my favorite color too, which is interesting. But getting the solar installed, you get a 30% rebate from good old Uncle Sam, Joe Biden. He's doing this right now. I did that. He's got the little emoji. But I got a good little chunk of change off my solar project there. I got about from the like over 10 G's just from the federal government for solar. Like, hey, dude, we like what you did there. Here's 30% of that right back in your pocket. So instead of doing what I'm probably supposed to do with it and put it towards my solar loan that I'm paying, dude, I paid off a little bit of debt, dude. I paid off the rest of Jamie's car. I got those Hexclad. By the way, I saw Hexclad for where the first time? Fucking TikTok. So anyways, got the Gordon Ramsay, the Rolls Royce of pots and pans on the way to the house pretty soon. They're a hot. I don't have any feedback on them yet, but you guys will be hearing in a couple weeks how much I love or dislike those pans or whatever it is. And then I decided, you know what, dude? I'm going to get an Xbox because I don't have an Xbox, and fucking Bob over here is a PC guy, Xbox guy. He's not a PlayStation guy. And like, we need
that's not true. I am a PlayStation guy. I just don't own one because of the Xbox and the PC.
Right. So there's a barrier. There's a barrier to entry for you to get back into the PlayStation world, and it's that there's other gaming systems.
Well, and it's just that I've had them. You know me. We've lived together a handful of times over the years, and since 2003, I've pretty much exclusively always had an Xbox. Like, I like PlayStation, and I don't mind having them. It's just that I've already had an Xbox. So over the last 20 years, I have an extensive catalog on the Xbox that I would no longer have on the PlayStation. I mean, that's the barrier. It's kind of like leaving iTunes, right? It's very hard to leave iTunes if you have $1,500 worth of music on it.
Bob, let me just say this then. So basically, right now you're saying, and I'm going to pat myself on the back, that I'm just more of an open-minded person than you, because I've been a PlayStation guy my entire life, and here I am getting an Xbox Series S or X. Which one is it that I got? Okay, the Series S, just because my friend Bobby over here has one, and I wanted to play online games with my boy here. But anyways, I got it, picked up from the Costco. Great deal. You get a headset, you get a controller, you get the fucking thing, $300, boom, bam. But here's the predicament I was like, well, what do I do with my PS5 now? Why I gotta move my PS5 out of the living room and gotta move it upstairs to the TV up there.
Again, and I'm like, well, the first world problem.
Yeah, and then I'm like, well, what do I do? What do I do with this ancient PS4 that still works like a charm? Let me move it into my daughter's room, who now has to move over her charger for her Switch for it to fit on her dresser.
Hold on. How stoked was she to get the ancient PS4 in her room?
Oh, she loves it, dude. Like, I went in there a little bit earlier today and I was like, hey, have you tried the PS4 yet? She's like, I'm watching it right now. Like she was already streaming like Netflix on her TV with that. Now she can do that from her TV, but she likes to do it from the PS4.
Of course.
So she's all in it. She's all in it to win it. Plus she's got Crash Bandicoot. She's got Dragon Age on there. She's got The Witcher on there. She is dialed the fuck in. And if she wants to walk around handheld, she's got her Switch. You know what I mean? With almost the same games on there. We are just living. It was great yesterday. It literally took me 2 hours to transfer all of the gaming consoles to different rooms and install and set up my new one. I'm like, how are you spending your Saturday, Scott? I'm just moving around gaming consoles because I have so many. It was fun. I had a good time with it, right? I
have a similar situation, right?
Mhm.
So I have the Xbox Series S in the living room. Daring, I got an original Xbox One. This is a big brick. You don't even know anything about this old machine. But it's the big brick, came out in like 2015 or something like that. And I got it for him, and it's a tank. He calls it his TIE Fighter because it's so loud and old, but it still plays most of the games. And then my old Xbox started taking a crap, which was still an Xbox One S, right? And it was a good one. It's the last kind of generation of the Xbox One. And so I got a hard drive and replaced it myself and did all the work and fixed it up, and it was all badass. And I told Darren, I was like, hey, do you want this? I'll give it to you, and then you can give Jadzia your old Xbox, and then we'll just cascade it on down. And he's like, no, I'm good, because he had his gaming PC that, to his credit, he earned with fantastic grades at the end of 8th grade.
Oh, what happened to those grades? No, that's not the show for that. Not the show.
But he did what he was supposed to do, and he got his gaming rig. He got an Alienware, so he's like, no, just give it to Jadzia. So I give it to her. She loves it.
Yeah.
So we have different like kind of generations of Xbox Ones in the house. Now they're all ones.
Yeah.
And somewhere there's a 360 floating around in a box. But
the 360, that's from back on 4th Street, dude. Like, get in it.
I have a 360 floating around somewhere. But
just so everybody knows the reference, I feel I need to highlight this. There was the 3rd time Bob and I lived together was on 4th and Montano, right? Because we're J10 across the street, and then 4th and Montano.
Yeah.
So I moved in with Bob. Wasn't doing the best in my life, but we don't need to talk about that. Moved in with Bob. He was happy to bring me in. And what did we do most of the time? We played Xbox 360. Gears of War was a brand new game at that time. That was fun times. Anyways, I just thought I'd just give people a little bit of context.
Little bit of insight into our life. I was just starting college the first go round.
And, I had just dropped out.
Look at where things are.
Always yin and yanging each other, Bob.
so we did have to discuss the stuff. So welcome to the dark side. I did grant Scott a welcome gift, and I sent him Destiny too. We'll get down on that later, probably today. We'll see how the booze goes. But I'm also free. I'm free today. So I have no school, I have no work, I have nothing to do. I got everything done. So I really am free today. Unfortunately, it's not a Saturday, so I can't just like cut loose and get all shitty and tanked. But at least I can be free.
Well, and what's interesting is everybody on the surface level would think he's talking to me in video games, but he literally was just talking to everybody out there. He's got an open door policy at his house. He's ready for backdoor play, and he's free. Anybody wants to come on down? Look, he can't go crazy all day because it's Sunday, people. For Christ's sakes, we're proper Christians here. But you know what he can do? He can have a little bit of fun, folks. And isn't that what life is about, for Christ's sakes? I feel like we've digressed enough. We should probably pivot back to the talk of ticks and get back into it.
We have to go back.
I figure we talk about it a little bit because there's a lot of shit going on right now. And I want to start going back to it. Like, okay, look, here's what we've already said, Bob, and straight the fuck up. We both love TikTok. In fact, let's just go ahead and say
everyone loves TikTok.
The majority of Americans love TikTok because there's over 150 million subscribers, meaning viewers, to TikTok right now, just in the United States, which is more than Meta, more than Twitter combined, I think. I just made that up. But you know what? Don't even fact check me because it sounds fucking cool.
It sounds great. We're going to go with it.
With that being said, I just mentioned this old puppy dog here, but old Meta, old Zucky baby, not a good friend of the show. In fact, he doesn't like our show. I know, Bob. I know. Like, who the fuck would even be that much of a piece of shit? Mark Zuckerberg. But this guy's company, let's just say this. He's been in hot water for a while. Not only like legally with like stuff with his own little problems in Congress, but his company sucks. Now, and I'll say this, and you'll agree too. We both want somebody to win in this metaverse thing. Is it gonna be Zuckerberg? I don't really know, dude. I know he's one of the guys that's trying to be a pioneer there, but he kind of put all his chips in on Meta.
Well, he had to, dude. Facebook sucks. It's dying.
Well, that's the thing, dude. Facebook now, which again, if this was 2006, 2007, you're like, Facebook is a thing of the future. And then fast forward 10 years, it is already becoming a thing of older people. Because now, let's just take this back, 7, 8 years. Like our parents weren't on Facebook then. You know what I mean? Like just older people, like boomers, were not on Facebook. Now, the boomers have been on Facebook for a solid 4 or 5 years or more now. And I'm going to go ahead and say that they're kind of making it not cool at all. At all.
I'm gonna take the verb out of there, and say it's not about making. They have made it not cool.
Not cool. Okay.
I mean, I like Facebook because it's how I keep in touch with some of my friends and families that I don't have any other connections with on any other platforms, right? But I kind of despise Facebook.
Ooh, that's a tough word. That's a really tough word.
I don't like it. I don't like to log into it. I don't like to scroll through my feed. I unfollow about as many people as I follow in my friends group because I don't need their nonsense in my feed anyway. I just don't really care. There is no real algorithm, especially when you're a TikToker and you go to Facebook. You're like, this is so archaic and old, and it hasn't evolved and it hasn't done anything. It's become this really political microphone, and that gets old.
I'll say this too, just to interject, because I think the algorithm is based off of user profiles versus topics, conversations. You know what I mean? You'll see more of somebody's shit because you interact with them, but it's not specific to what they're talking about, which is the shitty part. Because
which would be great if that would be, because that'd be more like TikToks.
Right. But because you know what I'm saying, there's certain friends of ours, mutual friends, that were like, I just can't take this guy's shit or this girl's shit anymore. However, you love 20% of what they say, but the other 80% of garbage that they repost.
Or even you just love the person.
Right.
And you're just like, well, I'm not going to unfriend you. I would never do that, but I don't have to listen to your opinions because I don't value them.
That's the beauty of the unfollow. But at the same time, what's the point? If you're friends with somebody and you unfollow them and you just want to take a break from them or whatever fucking Facebook wants to call it now, what's the point of even being connected to them anymore? It's almost like what you were saying. It's
I would say it's because of
the connection,
those
the ability
invites and the ability to connect, right? Yes. At when you want to.
See, I'm going to push back on that real quick here. Why not just say, hey, here's my current phone number and email address. Hit me up sometime.
Because people don't do that anymore.
Well,
I called you the other day because I couldn't get you on fucking Facebook video. And you said, look at this old school boomer call, right? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't have called you, but you didn't answer my actual call, the video chat. And I will say this, Facebook Messenger is fantastic.
You know what? It's a different app, though. It really is. It's its own animal. And again, not that conversation, but yes.
Now, Meta also owns WhatsApp, which is also fantastic. We don't use it so much here in America these days. It's more of a foreign thing, but it's still fantastic. It still exists. So I think WhatsApp and Messenger are money.
I think your lady boyfriends that you know from Southeast Asia got you into WhatsApp.
My Singapore slings?
Yeah. Well, he calls them his Singapore flings. Hey, come on now.
No. So let's just kind of get to the beef of this, right? Lately there's been I would say it's kind of a conservative-led movement to ban TikTok, but not 100%. I would just say that it is led.
It's a conservative brainchild. It's a conservative catalyst, which everybody got on board with eventually. We can definitely.
So Congress wants to ban TikTok, and because really, I'll tell you why. Scott already put it out there. There's 150 Americans on TikTok. That's
150. That's not much.
150 million. So that's about half of us, right? So half of us now are on a platform that we can freely share with people and create grassroots movements within hours, not months or years. And the power of our connectivity on TikTok is more tremendous than any other social media platform to date. And
Hands down.
That is very, very dangerous for people that sit at the top and they're trying to control their own power, especially when they claim to be representatives of constituents. But when half of those constituents are clearly on TikTok and they're doing their thing on TikTok, that kind of is a little bit of a farce, right? So,
well, let's be honest, their constituents are who's lining their fucking pockets. This is kind of getting down to the brass tacks of it. That's what we've realized with this, right?
Well, one of them even said it.
Who? I don't know this.
Pence from Indiana said, "You're getting paid from TikTok. Influencers are getting paid from TikTok." He literally said, "When am I going to get paid from TikTok?" Pull it up. I know you're looking for it right now.
Greg Pence. I got to make sure I understand who this guy is, because if I know, he did used to roll around with his older brother when they were trolling. You know what I mean? Just trying to get some ass.
Spread AIDS to the gay community. Hiding behind dumpsters, lurking in the shadows.
With dirty infected needles, like, gotcha, you fucking faggot.
Oh, what recall, dude? That was like 90 episodes ago.
Oh, I know.
Good on you. So yes, Greg Pence, which I believe is a representative from Indiana.
He is,
and he literally said, when am I going to get my money? And I'm like, wow, I kind of respect it. Like,
hey, dude, everybody else is getting a dip. You know what I mean? Like, when do I get mine?
He basically said to his face, what's his name? I forget his name.
Don't even worry about it. Let's not butcher
anyway,
it.
The CEO of TikTok was up there speaking, and we have Pence, a representative from Indiana, literally basically calling him out for not contributing to his campaign himself. Like, when is TikTok going to start, lobbying me and lining my pockets?
Shao C. Chu.
Shao Chu. There you go. Thank you. So, and by all like accounts, seems like a pretty stand-up guy. He's a Chinese national that lives in Singapore. Right?
Look, I'm not going to back him up. I won't do that. I don't know anything about the guy. He could literally be a mixture of Jeffrey Epstein and Henry. What's his name? What's his name? The Weinstein. The Steens. Look, he could be a Steen.
Which puts him in like the similar category of half of the tech CEOs anyway.
That's
so
true. No, he does seem like a stand-up guy, but
so what he did though is he went on there and they basically said, well, this is a Chinese company. Yeah, my company is in China. And he's like, well, the CCP controls everything, and he's just like, well, no, this isn't a government-owned company. This is actually a privately owned company.
And their retort, though, which does make sense to a lot of things that are controlled in China, is like, well, everything that is a Chinese company is controlled by the CCP. Okay,
or it could,
then that's fine.
Because it could be right, because they're communist.
Well, let's face it. If you have a business in China that's owned and operated solely in China, that's at the will of the CCP. They really
whatever
just
they want to do, right?
Yeah, like if they tell you got to shut down, or you have to do this, or you have to start making those for me, or you have to start doing this for us, that's what you do, or else you don't exist.
Or
I totally get that.
You have to like sell your company, or
right.
Sorry. That's what Congress is asking you to do.
But with that being said, this is an American-owned company that is it's okay. It's still part of ByteDance, right? But this is kind of a separate entity.
It's a subsidiary. So yes. It's a daughter company of ByteDance, which is, again, the Chinese company. Now,
why not could it be a son company, or does it have to be a daughter?
Show said they're daughters. That's just, I don't know. That's the lingo.
I know, because they say sister company too. I get it. I don't know why that has to be feminine. Why they can't be guys. But
I don't know. It's the same reason why my truck is Luna and my car is my SUV is Lucy. I don't know. It's always girls. So why is every ship a lady and a boat a boy? I don't know. But that's how it is.
It's kind of fucked up. I'm just saying. Maybe that's another show. It's kind of fucked up.
So
but I'm just saying
when the security concerns popped up in the hearing, Show said, listen, well, so they're already working on like Operation Texas or something like that, right? Which is basically third-party American companies auditing TikTok. Right,
around the clock,
and it's coming. They're setting it up now. It hasn't really been implemented yet, but it's being created. And he even said, "Listen, I have no problem giving you access to the data, have no problem giving you access to how we're storing it, how we're using it. They're like, can we see the algorithm? And that's where he started to push back. And he's like, well, I can't like give you the code in my algorithm. That's why I'm successful.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Like Intel, give me the trade secrets as to how you make your microchips. Well, that's where I draw the line.
Let me use a better reference that everybody will understand here. That's like Colonel Sanders giving up the secret sauce recipe. You know what I mean? Like it's just not gonna happen,
Then
bro.
Popeyes will fucking have the Colonel Sanders recipe. Like you
Which
can't give up the actual intellectual property that makes you a profitable entity. That's fucking retarded. And the fact that they asked him to do that shows their ignorance.
What? A lot shows their ignorance, Bob. I'm just gonna say that.
That was the best part.
A lot shows, but no. And here's the funny thing, and we've said this time and time again. In fact, what's funny about this is we keep referencing age relevance to being on the world stage. I mean, let's just call it what it is. And I'm not saying, hey, dude, look, if you're in your 50s, you even in your 60s or whatever, I get it. But there's a certain time where just American politicians on a whole like start separating themselves from what's relevant with what's going on with technology, what's going on with social media, what's going on with global connection. You know what I mean? So there, and I'm sure we'll bring them up. You may even want to bring them up now, but there's a couple of statesmen, we'll call them, one of them from Texas, that dude, he tries to pigeonhole him into the Wi-Fi conversation. That's one that I just think we need to bring up. You know what I mean? Like, what is this? Like, you're showing right there, you have no clue how not only, and that's what's so infuriating about that, Bob, is like they're literally putting TikTok on trial for basically being a spy, a Chinese spy, right? You saying, hey, your technology has enabled you to be a spy on America, selling it. So you know what that means, Bob? When you're a spy on America and you're selling it to our enemies, which China is our fucking enemy right now, guys. You're committing treason, dude, which high treason is one of the worst crimes that you could possibly have on a political stage. But when this guy brings up the Wi-Fi conversation and starts to try to pigeonhole this dude into like, basically, can TikTok enable Wi-Fi? You're like, well, your phone can. Like your phone can do it. Like, go ahead.
I pulled up an article, right? And to give credit, this is from newser.com. Evan Gastaldo
never fucking heard of it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but because he captured it here and I can read it, it's great.
Okay. Hey, thanks for that. Hey, I love how you always give props. Hey,
so
good on you.
TikTok users, this is quotes directly from the article. TikTok users took to what else? TikTok during the social media app CEO's congressional appearance Thursday to mock lawmakers who seemed like, as some called them, embarrassing corpses who are too old and out of touch to have any idea how technology works. One of the questions being most widely mocked came from Richard Hudson, Republican representing North Carolina.
I thought he was from Texas.
So Z2, does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network? A visibly confused Chu replied, only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand the question. Hudson continued, so if I have TikTok app on my phone and my phone is on my Wi-Fi network, does TikTok access that network? Still seemingly confused, Chu answered, I would have to access the network to get connections, or it would have to access the network to get connections to the internet, if that's the question. So it was
basically just a complete breakdown
clear
of understanding, like a complete breakdown of understanding on how things work.
Like, and why the fuck is someone with so little knowledge of technology have a platform to ask questions about this particular topic in this particular hearing? You would think they would actually have people that understood asking questions. It's like when I go to ask about construction permits for my house, I have no fucking clue because I'm an IT career professional and I've never done that. And I don't know how it all works.
Well, and just in case anybody's embarrassed to say, like, you know what, I really don't understand it either. Like, here's the brass tacks of it. If TikTok had access to your home Wi-Fi, the most that TikTok would know is that you maybe have your TV hooked up to it, maybe your Ring doorbell hooked up to it. Maybe they know that you've got your refrigerator hooked up to it on it, like a smart refrigerator or something that maybe it'll basically just get an idea of what you have hooked up to your Wi-Fi. That's the extent of like being connected to your Wi-Fi could potentially know. And I'll tell you this, usually, unless there was some high-powered visual on what's going on in your Wi-Fi network, TikTok would never even know what else is on your Wi-Fi, because that's how Wi-Fi works. It's not like it's sharing, like it's not like data transferring to other people, though.
It's not a networking, like
no,
it's not a Wi-Fi networking app. It's a social networking app. Right.
Exactly,
so yes, would it be able to see devices on your network?
Sure.
I mean, potentially, should that guy have gotten a little bit of fucking homework if that was the question he was really trying to ask, and so that he didn't look like an asshole? I mean, I would, if I was an elected official, I would try to at least sound like I knew what I was talking about. Shit, I'm in management. I always try to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Look, okay, Mr. Shu, whatever. Let me just get right to it, okay? You know what I'm saying about the Wi-Fi? Does TikTok know I'm looking at gay pornography? Look, yes, it will. Well, that's my problem.
But I thought it was awesome when Shu said, "Listen, I understand your security concerns about TikTok. But let's be honest, American companies have a long history of not being reliable with your data. For instance, Facebook sold all of their user data to, what is it, Analytica Britannica or whatever it was.
Oh, I love that. I love that encyclopedia.
And that was the company that sold all that Facebook information to Russia so they could start making social media bots and shit like that. And it was such a hardcore point to make, and it fell into a room of underqualified fucking baboons.
Morons. Well, and here's the other thing, Bob. We were saying this before, which he highlights too in this, and I think it's just important for everybody to know. What was that, dude? I think we watched it in 2020. There was a fantastic documentary on Netflix about social media and how it's basically just it's collecting everything on us, right? Like this was like
we actually watched it for the show.
Yeah, and this was before TikTok was very relevant. In fact, TikTok
was still called Musical.ly at that point.
Yeah, it wasn't even relevant, is my point, right? But at the same time, it's saying that Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, since the inception, have been collecting all of our data, but because it was collected stateside and sold to people probably in the United States. Yeah, but maybe not, right? But because there was no issue with that, like you're like, no harm, no foul. You know, it's cool. This is what these companies do, just like how cookies work on a fucking website, whatever, right? It's like, what are we doing here? But the minute now that it happens with a company where you got Meta and you've got Twitter, you've got maybe not Twitter, but you've got Meta that's literally like losing billions of dollars since the popularity of TikTok, and like, hey, you know what? We're gonna literally line the pockets of these fucking morons, these morons that control the country, our politicians, and we're going to get this we're going to push out TikTok because they're taking way too much for us. And God damn it, if anybody's selling American data to our enemies, it's going to be us. Right?
Yeah, and honestly, and Congress is okay with it as long as you've had an IPO and they have a chance to get in and buy your stock.
Well, how bad does that, you know what? And that's the other thing, Bob. We're their constituents. They're here to protect us, right? That's what they sell us, right? That's the narrative. It's like, hey, man, we're here to look out for the good of Americans. We're here to make sure make America great again. Just use one side of it. Or I don't even know if the fucking Dems have a tagline. I don't think they do. It's like, hey, we used to be the party of like openness. Like, I don't like it. And now we're not. Like, I don't know what their tagline is. But at the same time, it's like, hey, but at the end of the day, as long as the company that's in question pays me, then I'll look the other way.
And it's almost like a staple on this show. We've said for literally years how Republicans and Democrats are both pieces of shit, and they're both very, very similar behind closed doors. And
when there's money involved too, especially.
I think that part really came out in these hearings. That these guys are the same politicians. It's just the Republican and Democrat voters that are being bamboozled by these guys. They're all pieces of shit, just trying to get rich and keep their power. They don't care about fucking abortion or gun rights or anything else that they make you care about. They don't care about that. All they really care about is if their bank account's going to grow so they can take their vacations to Cancun when their constituents are freezing to death. That's it. And
oh, wait a minute.
I
That
know
was a
that's
that was a Ted
poke,
Cruz.
I know that's a poke at Ted Cruz, but anyone would have done that. Fucking Nancy Pelosi would have done the same thing if she was in Texas. So
hey, after she's done playing ping pong with her dentures, she will do whatever she wants to do. And you know what? Hey, I got to give some credit to Nancy Pelosi. She finally hung it up. And what I mean hung it up, she hung her dentures up. She's out, dude. She's out there gumming her husband's dick right now because he needs it. He got his ass beat recently, so he needs it.
He did pretty hard. I saw the video. It was pretty brutal.
Good on you.
He was like gurgling in his own blood. It's pretty brutal.
And now she's gurgling on old dick. So good for you.
Gurgling on dust. He's like, I think I'm gonna. I did it.
I did. She's like, did you come? She's like, yeah, like a couple of minutes ago.
It's like, is that what that was? So all of our politicians are shit, and even more so, why we need TikTok. We've got to be able to talk to each other outside of it. And the average person who watches TikTok, average user, an hour and a half a day, 90 minutes a day. So 150 million people, 90 minutes a day. You know what that takes away from directly? Other than Facebook and their
big
lobbying,
media, baby.
By the way, they spent $20 million lobbying against TikTok. So let's just like go ahead and put a number on Zuckerberg's vested interest. Yes, ABC, NBC, CNN, Fox, everyone. They want that hour and a half. They're losing revenue. They're losing marketing money. They're losing commercial money. They're losing viewers, all because people are starting to watch TikTok.
And here's the thing, dude. And here's what's cool about the algorithm with TikTok in general, and just TikTok in general. There's not anybody right now pushing their narrative on TikTok besides the user, right? You're pushing your own story on there, right? Which does no good for big media. And I want to go ahead and say I'm putting on my tinfoil hat a little bit here. And I'm not going to say I am putting on my tinfoil hat because that kind of makes you ridiculous. I know, but what I'm saying is the greater conspiracy that is a real thing is that state-run media is essentially what our big media companies are at the end of the day, because same thing, right? The people that own those people are lining politicians' pockets, and that's why we have partisan news outlets. And when people need to calm Americans down or get them on board with being mad at this country or this country, it's like we need to go free this country. Why? Because they have oil, but let's not tell them that. Let's just get in there. They perpetuate their message and get people on board or dole down the fear through media. And when the majority of Americans aren't tuning in anymore, you don't have that reach, right? So you're literally losing your power as kind of making us puppets, right? And they don't like that. They don't like that.
Not one bit. They don't want us talking to each other. They don't want us forming our own opinions or viewing and collecting information that's outside of the controlled narrative of mainstream media.
And God forbid we're questioning it amongst ourselves.
Like we're breaking their brainwashing algorithm. They've had a lock on that for like 50 years. And then now all of a sudden we're getting our information and we're forming our own collective thoughts and opinions. And these guys are fucking getting terrified.
I just love that.
That's a great title. That's
right? Yeah. You're right. Yeah. So, anyways, because I don't know how to spell algorithm off the top of my head, I can actually have to think about that one, and I'm trying to really stay focused. But we know what's going on here. He's gonna. You're absolutely right. No, that is good. There it is.
I'm taking a Python programming class, so I got you, buddy.
Good for you, because I couldn't.
I'm learning. I'm getting smarts and stuff.
Well, we appreciate that. And
I could ask CEOs questions that like people wouldn't laugh at.
Good.
I should run for Congress.
You definitely should, dude. You definitely should. But this is, I honestly do. To get back to the root of this, I really hope this is just gonna backfire on Congress. I hope it does, because you know how it is, that whole like no publicity is bad publicity thing. I think the people that have been in the dark about TikTok, that aren't complete like mindless zombie cheap, are going to be like, maybe I should get on there and see what it's all about or whatever, right? Maybe that'll open a couple of people up to it. But I hope this fizzles out in the sense of like, this is ridiculous. It's a laughing stock of, again, we talked about this, dude. we're wasting our fucking time. Again, we pay, we don't, yes, no. We pay these people. We pay taxes.
A lot. We pay these people a lot.
We pay these people in more ways than one to get out there and look out for our best interests. And instead of working on the fucking opioid epidemic, the fentanyl crisis, fucking world hunger, whatever it is, you could come up with a million other things that are more fucking important, especially more important on American soil than fucking shutting down TikTok, for Christ's sakes. But this is our energy.
That's the thing that pisses me off the worst. We've got the biggest gap between rich and poor that America's ever had. We've got fucking cities that are flooded with tent fucking camps and tent cities. And the Congress is going to get together to solve these problems, right? No, they're going to get together to talk about the social media app and funneling fucking money to their campaign.
And if they could get together behind closed doors without us seeing anything, be like, okay, so all right, so who signed our last paycheck that hit my account? What's on the docket today? You know what I mean? Like, that's literally how they prioritize what they're fucking doing, which is horseshit, dude.
God, I've got hope. The resistance against the TikTok ban is the largest bipartisan push and reason for camaraderie that this country has seen since the civil rights movement. Like, seriously, and I hate to be dramatic about it, but what have Republicans and Democrats been able to actually agree on to come together to fight for together? There's 150 million people on there, and every single righty and lefty on there that's a creator and they're doing their stuff, or they're one of the 5 million businesses that advertise effectively on businesses or what have you. They all want the same thing here. They just want the platform. They just want the ability to connect and reach in a way that's not controlled, so that they can do what they need to do, whether it be professionally or socially. And I think this is a huge question mark when it comes to the tribal politics, because this might be the one thing that Republican and Democrat creators and users of this social media might come together and be like, you know what? It's time for the boomers to fucking exit and go off into the sunset.
There we are, ride to the sunset. So poetic too, right? Because we can see it all happening. Nancy,
I'm just saying, Bob, dude, I can't think of anything else that the right and the left would ever agree on. But I think that there's a distinct possibility that there could be a fight and a pushback that is bipartisan coming from constituents, and that is super dangerous. They're trying to nip this in the bud right now before it gets out of hand, but the genie might already be out of his bottle.
You can't put that toothpaste back in the tube once it's out. That's one of my favorites. That's what I always say when I net all over your face.
You can't put the dust back into the penis, Nancy. I don't even know why Nancy. She's not even a congressperson anymore. It's just funny.
Hey, we were just giving her props, but we have to shit on her too, because let's face it, she put her own big black marks in her pants and otherwise across, the echoes of history. And I don't know.
Yeah, and I did a little bit of looking, on TikTok, because people are posting it about some of the people that were asking questions and some of their stock holdings because they're public.
Oh, and that's great to see, isn't it?
Many of them held stock in Google and Meta. Interesting.
Well, and which is not unusual because those are big companies, but they've also recently put more into these companies as the stock has grown. We call that insider trading when you can control the outcome.
Most of us do. When you trade stock based on information that's not publicly available, normally it's called insider trading and it's a crime.
And that you can
go to jail, but Congress people don't have to.
Right. And that you can directly manipulate that stock in your favor. That's textbook Wall Street shit right there. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do, man?
Leading into the 97 fucking senators and Congress people that had holdings in businesses that were in industries that there were oversight committees of. No big deal. Nothing to see here.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all, my friend. But I'll tell you what, man.
Sorry, I know this kind of derailed into everything, but of the things that we've been talking about for the last several weeks, it really does all kind of come together, and it's really visible with this TikTok shit, and it's fucking nonsense, and it's about time that people actually stand up and make their voices heard.
I agree, Bob, and I'll say this too: people out there that are listening to the show, come connect with us on TikTok. We are there with open arms. We are looking for more love. Bob, in more ways than one. Trust me, like he said, his door is open today. Like, he's ready for love. He's free, whatever that means. But you should come connect with us and enjoy what we're enjoying and what apparently the majority of Americans are enjoying here. I think it's a good thing.
And we will make an effort to post more on TikTok.
We will. We're going to have to, especially if they ban it, because then we're going to be bad boys. And we like being bad boys. You know what I'm saying? Well, at least you do sometimes. But behind closed doors.
Anyway, thank you for joining us today. It's been a great show. The more on this story as it comes. Again, like and subscribe. You can catch us on pretty much any major platform. Hit us up on anywhere. Hit us up on TikTok. Share your stuff with us.
Yep.
We're pretty easy to find. Bob West, Scott Casanova. I don't think there's any special profile. You can just search that and find both of us. So
just check us out, guys, and have a drink for us. All right. We'll see you soon.
See you.
Cheers, Scotty.
Oh, cheers all the way. Cheers to your tits.
Cheers for fears.
Oh, it's a great band.
Cheers for beers.
Cheers. Recline that thing all the way back.